over to the government. But later on, when India got independence, we also started following the same path which was done, or such kind of activities which were carried out by the British government those days. I'll give you one example and you will understand. We have something called distribution of power. All right. In federal system, you have distribution of power between center and state. So here you can just try to understand how the power is distributed, whether it is equal distribution or unequal distribution, and then we can decide who is more powerful and whose powers are reduced. There are three lists in the constitution which talks about distribution of power. All right. First one, union list, where all those subjects are mentioned, all those departments and all those categories are mentioned, where only union government, that is central government, can take the decisions. All right. Secondly, there is one more list which is called as state list, and as per the name, only those subjects are listed where only state government can take the action or decision. And if you look at this, you will come to know that almost 70% powers are given to the center and around 30% powers are given to the states. One more category is there, to which we call concurrent list. Okay, concurrent list, where those subjects are listed where union and state both can take the decision. Either state can make law or the center can make law. And if there is clash between center and state, the law which is made by the center or the union shall prevail. Okay. So again, here you can see that the central government has got an upper edge in this sense. Apart from this, there is one more category which is not mentioned anywhere in the constitution, which is called as residuary powers. Okay, residuary powers. In this sense, residuary powers are those powers which are not mentioned anywhere in the constitution. So as per the changing time, new challenges will arise, and to resolve these all new challenges, to tackle these challenges, central government comes up with certain ideas and policies, right? And these residuary powers are also given to the center. So just imagine that how many powers are given to the center. Not only that, apart from this, the central government can make law on the state subject as well. Okay, if central government decides so, they can just simply bring resolution in the Rajya Sabha, and after that resolution, government can simply make law on that particular topic or subject. So in a way, we can understand that central government can make law on almost every subject. Okay, so 100% power is there with the central government or union government. So this is what we call this is what we call something like strong center framework, where central government dominates over rest of the states. And we have taken this model from Canada, because in Canada also they have strong central framework where central government has more power and state governments has less. Right. So when it comes to distribution of power, it has two categories. Just now the one which we discussed, center and state, and even if you want to add local self government in that, so three levels: union level, state level, and local level. Right. So at all these three levels, powers are distributed equally or unequally. This is called vertical distribution of power. Again, the second category, which is horizontal distribution of power, the term which is given by Montesquieu, wherein whatever powers are given to the center, those powers will not reside with one agency. Rather, it will be divided in further three agencies. That is legislature, executive, and the judiciary. Legislature will have law making power. Executive branch will have the power to implement or execute the laws, and the judiciary will ensure that all the actions are taken as per the constitution. Judiciary will always ensure that nothing goes illegal or unconstitutional, and that's why judiciary always tries to adjudicate and ensure that everything is done as per the law. And if something is going against the law, judiciary has the power to strike down all the illegitimate and unconstitutional policies. And this is what we call equal distribution of power between three agencies, three pillars of Indian democracy. It's not only about India, almost every democratic nation has divided their power in this similar manner, where their parliament makes law, their executive body implements that law, and judiciary adjudicate the same thing. Right? That is one of the things. One more point where we can say that even though we have colonial mindset is emergency provision. Okay. Emergency provisions are mentioned in the constitution, where central government can declare emergency. In fact, state government do not have any kind of emergency provisions. Rather, central government has it. There are three articles which are mentioned in the constitution which deals with the emergency provision, which is Article 352, which deals with national emergency. Article 356, known as state emergency or president's rule, which is applicable only on a particular respective state. And third one is financial emergency, which is mentioned in the Article 360. Got the point? So three types of emergencies: a national emergency, state emergency, which is also called as president's rule, and third is financial emergency. Article 352, Article 356, and Article 360. And all these powers are again given only to the center and not to any state government. Okay. There is debate over the size of bureaucracy as well, wherein government is nowadays trying to minimize the power of the government or bureaucracy. So for that, government is moving towards downsizing the democracy or the bureaucracy. Right? We are trying to downsize the bureaucracy. We are trying to reduce the number of employees in the bureaucracy so that government's interference will be reduced, government's intervention will be reduced, and the people can freely take a decision in their life, whether it is about beginning with the business, whether it is about choosing any kind of job, or whatever it can be. So government's interference is day by day, it is being reduced. Okay. So this is how we are moving towards it, because we have seen that when you have more number of people in the bureaucracy, there are higher chances of corruption in the bureaucracy. Yesterday only we discussed about license Raj, where government officers were taking bribe for giving licenses to the citizens for starting any kind of business. Right. So that is something again essential here to be understood. And because of that, to reduce the corruption level, government is downsizing its bureaucracy. Secondly, when we are trying to minimize the size of bureaucracy, doesn't mean that we are not willing to have good governance. Of course, we do have. Along with the help of technology, we can achieve maximum governance. Okay. In the next slide, we will be discussing about it. Good governance, a key to sustainable development, wherein first we have to understand the difference between government and governance. Okay. Every country may have different form of government. For instance, in India, we have different hierarchy. Here we have president, prime minister, even vice president. Then we have cabinet ministers, deputy ministers, independent ministers, state ministers. We have bureaucratic officers, right? We have parliament where we have Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. This is applicable to India, right? So government structure over here is somewhat different. But if you compare the same with other countries, you can take, for instance, America. You can compare it with America, and you will come to know that American president is more powerful than Indian president. Whereas in America, they don't have the post of prime minister only, right? Because they are not having parliamentary democracy. In fact, they are having presidential democracy. And because of this system, they do not have prime minister. And because of parliamentary democracy, we do not give more power to the president. And in fact, we give more power to the prime minister. Right? This is how we understand. So you can just see that the structure of the government is different. People in government are different. However, all these people constitute government. Right? President, Vice President, Prime Minister, all the ministers, and entire bureaucracy. They are called as the part of government. They are called as the real government. So if anyone asks the question to you that what is government, you can just show these things or explain these things. On the other hand, again, on the contrary, there is one more term called governance. Right? Governance is also somewhat important over here. We understood what exactly do we mean by government. All the people just now which I named, all these people are part of the government, and further all the activities, all the actions of this government is known as governance. Okay, all the actions which are taken up by the government, all those things are governance. For instance, if the parliament is passing the bill, yes, it is governance. If the government is declaring emergency somewhere, yes, it is governance. Or if the government is providing health facilities through government hospitals, yes, again it is governance. Government is building roads for the people, again it is governance. Government is providing water, basic necessities to the people, still it is governance. Now I hope you understood the difference between these two. Government is a body of people, right? A structure of the people who are working in an organization to which we call government. And all the actions which are taken by these people shall be called as governance. Okay. So this is the major difference between government and governance. So in upcoming class, what we will do is we will try to understand the concept of good governance. Rather, I will just explain in a minute, and then tomorrow onward we will try to understand different principles of good governance. Okay. Just in a minute, I'll explain, and then we may take the question answers if necessary. Okay, so here you can say that when you have the government, definitely you will have the governance. There is no doubt in that. Because if you have the government, of course, they will take some or the other action. They will, provide basic needs to the people. Even if they are going for the corruption, still that is governance. Even if they are doing wrong things, wrong actions, still that is governance. However, such kind of governance is not expected. Then what is expected? That all the actions of the government must be justified. Those all actions of the government must be there for the well-being of the people. Right? This is what we expect from the government. So when we expect such kind of things from the government, that government should behave properly, government should act properly, and if government do so, and if government is becoming corruption less, if the government is fulfilling all the needs of the people, if the government is successful to maintain law and order, peace in the society, then you can say that we are achieving something called good governance. Okay. Good governance, you have just understood. Governance is any action of the government, right? Is called as governance. And when they take right action, that is called as good governance. Okay. So it is quite easy to understand. Fine. So tomorrow onward, we will take next points, that is transparency, accountability, rule of law, responsiveness, and everything. All these points will be discussed, and we will be taking the further points in upcoming classes. Okay. So now let's open it up for the question answers. If any one of you have any questions, you may please ask your questions.
भूपेंद्र राउत और जय बच्चों जो भी है, ऐश्वर्या गड़गे, कोई भी पूछ सकते हैं। सर का प्रेजेंटेशन कंप्लीट हुआ है, प्लीज आस्क योर क्वेश्चन।
Okay, I guess nobody has the question, I believe. Yeah, fine, no problem. So we will continue the same from tomorrow onward. So kindly